Ontario for many hours.
Oh my.
Okay,
we're gonna go live. Okay.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Mexican-American Latino Lens live podcast. I'm Yasmin, a big movie lover, and I'm joined by my co-host, Dr. Luis Ruiz, who's an author, director, dentist, and the founder of both the Mexican-American Cultural Education Foundation, as well as Dr. Ruiz Productions. How are you doing today, Dr. Ruiz?
I'm doing really good. I'm excited. We have a really nice group of filmmakers, super talented, and with a really fun story. So I like today's podcast because it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be light because the story is very light. And some other ones we get into pretty complicated political stories, but this is going to be fun. So I'm very, very excited, and we have a very nice group. Of course, let me just very quickly mention, because we have a nice group. Let me mention that we have Ramon Torres, who is a writer, director, and actor of many years. He's worked for Warner Brothers, and now he is a part of this film studio called Emblematic Film Pictures, and that's, I want to know more about that, but we'll get to that in just a second. We also have Romy Diaz. Romy, when I saw Romy's picture, I've seen her in so many places. She has a long story although she's so young, but she has a long story as a wonderful actress, playing many, many characters. 40 episodes of television, including Law and Order and a bunch of other ones. We have Diana Torres, who is a fellow Mexican she's from Culiacan, Sinaloa. She graduated from Casa Azul Performing Arts, which is a really prestigious art school in Mexico. And so we know that we have very talented people. And of course, we have Nadia Zoe, who is a film director, graduated from Colombia. So that she is, to get in Colombia is not easy. So congrats. And of course, today we have a really, really fun story about a family, a Mexican-American family that gets into all kinds of stories. Tell us a little bit about that, because I know our film lover got a chance to see the film, and I know, as always, she has an opinion.
Well, I think it was just very authentic, and I think that there was so many parts of it that was like really funny, but I think I could also see like my own family in it, just because of how authentic it was to, especially with the siblings, like this whole sibling dynamic. I feel like sometimes I have fights like that with my brothers, so it's just really, really nice to see on the screen, and just for it to be like, from like a Hispanic lens, because you don't see a lot of that on the screen.
Yep, that's very, very special. It had a lot of authenticity in the story. So we're going to ask our engineer Michaela to play the trailer, so we all get a little feeling on the story.
My distinguished guests, I give you the Taco-matic. What's this for?
Our family reunion dinner. Everyone will be there tomorrow.
¿Se puede saber qué diablos hacen?
What does it look like we're doing? Keep loading.
I'm guessing the taco truck's still haunting your dreams. You should see someone about that.
You've been ignoring our notices for the past 6 months.
Grandma co-signed a loan for the Taco-matic. We use the restaurant as collateral.
Grandma wants to end a family dinner with the soup.
We are not ending with that soup.
You can come to the dinner or not.
I couldn't avoid it if I tried. We live in the same house.
Then stay in your room!
We're going to lose the restaurant, Grandma, unless you happen to have $500,000 somewhere.
Look it. Apparently I'm an internet sensation.
Are you going to involve me in your plan?
Are you going to keep quiet?
Your superiority complex has no place here.
Do you even know what it's like to take a risk?
Welcome to the Sepulveda family dinner!
Nice.
You're gonna need this.
Fun. Let's start with Nadia, the director. So Nadia, I know you're co-writer as well with Ramon. So first of all, how do you guys come out with this story? Does it have anything to do with reality, with anything you know, or so what is your inspiration?
Well, I mean, Ramon and I have worked together before, and we had actually done a short that was called Mariachi Madness that also had a very close relationship between a father and son. And we had always wanted to make kind of a feature version of that. Um, Definitely a different story, and we did that in New York. But we kind of really love this, kind of dysfunctional relationship between this father and son that were grieving and finding their way through grief. Um, you know, by confronting it in this like ridiculous situation. So we kind of took that and we, kind of brought that to this story and this idea. We both come from very large families, a lot of complex dysfunction, I would say.
Like all families, look, all families have this almost bipolar situation, right?
Yeah,
I think Latinos even more.
yeah, I mean, I think we all know that, and I think that that is something that is something that is cross-cultural bounds, and it's something that universally we all deal with, whether it's found family or biological family. We all deal with certain levels of dysfunction within our relationships, and I think when we did that, I mean, I think there's pieces of every character within our own family, and I think part of that hodgepodge that we kind of put together was our goal was to make it that everyone saw this and saw an element of someone that they knew. And I think that's something that has been great about this is going around is everyone comes out to us and there is one character that they really identify with. Sometimes more than that, but everyone's like, oh, well, that's my uncle, that's my grandma, that's and so that was, I think, really one of our biggest goals was to have everyone have a point where they related to it.
Yeah, that we can all say, oh, I've been through that. I've seen that happen. So, where do you guys shoot the movie?
We shot in LA.
Okay, so how long? How many days did you shoot?
About 21 days.
21 days. Okay, very, very cool. So Ramon, tell me a little bit about your perspective. How do you come out together with Zoe, how do you come out with this story?
I mean, to Nadia's point earlier, we wanted to build a story that built on the short we had done, I think it was 10 years ago. And we wanted to talk through and build a narrative around family dynamics. Mostly, I think it started with a conversation around passed down trauma and things that people say or don't say, and the lack of communication sometimes that jeopardizes family. And also to Nadia's point, grief and how that manifests. Romy, I'm sure will speak to this, sort of her perspective with her daughter, played by Diana, and kind of what was learned behavior versus what's tradition versus progress. And a lot of that, I think, when Nadia and I were discussing sort of where our families, sort of the Venn diagram of similarities, a lot of that's in the middle. The cultural context is always something that we worked through. What does this look like in a Mexican-American family? I grew up in a very big Mexican-American family, but there were things that I would say to Nadia about my mom and how her relationship with her mother were very similar to Nadia's family as well. And so we kind of dove into those kind of similarities to build something that felt universal. The only call out was that one time on set, because we didn't have a food stylist, there's a tray of tortillas that kind of crosses the screen. They weren't cooked, and Nadia's like, someone's gonna notice they're not cooked.
I mean, there's at some points when you're, dealing with such tight timelines, you're just like, we just gotta go. It's like you have to just take those, and you're like, someone is gonna notice this, but you're gonna end up discussing it later, and you can explain why. But yeah, you have to go.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. When you're shooting, I mean, you have to make things happen. Romy, you have a tremendous amount of experience. Your performance was very, very great. I loved it. It was fun. Um, so what was your inspiration for your character? You know, how do you how do you develop all of those special all that special language and accent that you gave us in the film? Tell us a little bit about all of that.
Thank you so much, first of all. The inspiration was very clear and very specific, and it was my mother. My mother and my grandmother and my tias and all of these layers, right, of their relationships over the years, you know. So it was a very powerful thing for me to live in that space, you know, which I always called my mother's crazy headspace, you know, because I'm very different than she is. So being in her shoes, and then also taking that and placing myself in my grandmother's shoes, to sort of to really understand, right? Because I don't have children anyway, so that's a big deal, right? So, but you know, that maternal instinct is there as a woman, but living in those shoes for the 21 days, I thought it was really pretty cathartic. Yeah, and
and of course maybe this question could be for the director as well, but do you stick very, very closely to the screenplay, or do you bring a lot of your own, story into it?
Well, in terms of the word, you know, the word that's on the page, I'm just one of those actors that I completely respect what's on the page. I will not improvise a single syllable. I think you can attest to this, Nadia, unless it's cleared.
Well, yeah, and I wanted some ad-libbing. So yeah, I mean,
Right.
for the most part, we did stick to the script
Yeah.
a lot,
We
but there
did.
were specific scenes that we did line out, and we
Yeah.
just discussed it beforehand that I wanted more freedom between the actors to explore their characters more and go beyond what was written on the page. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, we stayed pretty close to it.
Yeah, we did. But I hope that answers your question. That, you know, was definitely inspired by my mother, my grandmother, and all of my many, 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 many tias.
Well, yeah, I mean that's kind of the way our families are in. Yeah, I mean I can attest to that with my family as well. There's always, every time there has been those meetings, there's always conflict, and that's what makes it fun to have a family sometimes, and sometimes it's not as fun, right? Well, we haven't talked to Diana Torres. You play one of the daughters, and very opinionated as well. So tell us a little bit about your character and about how you brought it to life. What was your inspiration? How do you research this?
Just as Romy said, I got the inspiration from my family, my tias, and my mom, my relationship with my mom. And I remember when I read the audition, I was like, yeah, I know this so well. And I think any Latino family can feel the same way, because there's so many similarities. And just I remember when I read the script and I read the scene where Matias is picking up the garbage. I'm not gonna ruin the movie, but for everybody who has not seen it, but I teared up because I remember certain aspects with one of my siblings, and I think it was just cathartic as well, as Rami mentioned, because I felt like I could liberate parts of myself that I didn't even understand until I saw it somewhere else on a page, and with my family as well. And I think, I mean, every family has a little bit of dysfunction here and there, but what Nadia and Ramon did was that they put the comedy aspect of it, so we can laugh and have a good time, and yeah, you can see yourself, but also it can be cathartic and beautiful. So for me, it was just like learning my lines. I remember that Nadia let us improvise. As you can tell, this like English is my second language. So I try to stick to the words as much as I can. And if they change one word, I was like, no. It took me like 15 minutes to learn how to pronounce that. So
well,
but
if you didn't tell me, I wouldn't know.
Yeah,
oh, thank
it's
you.
really
No,
good.
Thank you.
your accent is excellent, but maybe I am also English is my second language. I might
Well,
not be able to tell.
English is my first, and I couldn't tell, so I think you did really
Oh,
well.
thank you. Thank you so much. So I remember we have like different versions of the script, and it was getting better and better and better. Like because it became such like, yeah, you could improvise, but also I think it became bigger than that. It was about women passing on their, you know, the traumas or whatever issues to each other, and I was excited, and at the same time, I'm not gonna lie, I was scared to take on this part because it was so close to home that it was almost scary, but fun at the same time, because it was comedy and it's supposed to be, you know, lighter, and we I think we had a great time, and I will treasure this movie for a very long time.
Yeah, it's a very nice movie. Tell us a little bit about Casa Azul Performing Arts, and then how do you tell us a little bit about your experience there, and then tell us a little bit of how you end up here in the U.S. as an actress.
Yeah, that's a long story. Ooh. I studied there. It's actually weird because it was one of those times that I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew deep in my heart that I wanted to be an actress, but nobody in my family is an actor, or not even close, right? And I I remember that I started going to different places and trying to get as much information, how to get in, what do they need, etc. And I also I believe when you ask for things show up. And I said I wish I just had a way in. Like I wish acting would knock my door, right? And then my dad came up with a movie. Like he came up with a movie project. He's an engineer. He was like, the company wants me to go and talk to these producers, and I told them about you doing theater. So I met with these producers, and they told me about Casa Azul, right? And I ended up working in production, and I had a small role there. And they told me about Casa Azul. So, but I still was like, yeah, is it like, should I go? But what if things are not lining up? Things are moving in a different direction. And I remember, oh man, I need a sign. I need a sign.
I need a sign.
I was driving around Mexico City, and then there was a green light, and I stopped, and I was like, and then I looked to the side, and there was this water commercial or whatever, you know, like like a water thing for a brand. I don't even know what it was, but it says Blue Factor, right? But there was a pole hiding the F, so it said Blue Actor, and I'm like,
oh my gosh! So that was your sign, huh? I think you were looking for a sign, right? Diana. Romy, did you get a sign? Did you start as an actress with a sign, or how do you end up being an actress?
Romy? Oh boy, I always done theater, but it was like high school, and it was not.
Diana,
help! Can you hear me? Hello.
I was asking Romy, what was her sign? What was the sign that made her become an actress?
Yeah, my sign, if I had one, was something I was born with, I think, really. And I started performing at the age of 4. But
oh my God, 4, love it.
But Okay,
Oh, but
that was for the church. That's what
oh,
my mother deemed okay, right? And
oh,
I was very, very good at memorization, and I was very, very articulate as a very young child. And I wasn't shy. I wasn't a wallflower. So I was cast in Winnie the Pooh. I was Winnie, even though I couldn't do
you
a
were Winnie the Pooh. I love it.
yeah, even though I couldn't actually do the front cartwheel, they still cast me. So that was cool. But and
That's my
then
daughter's favorite movie.
really, oh
Yeah,
well,
Michaela.
yeah. But so I at the tender age of 12, I decided, and I don't remember how I even heard about this, but I was going to be starting high school. And there was the Newark Performing Arts High School, which is the first performing arts high school in our country. It's in Newark, New Jersey. And I remember my mother was ironing, dinner was over, my father was still finishing because he takes his time. And I went down and I made an announcement. And my announcement was, I am auditioning for the Performing Arts High School, and that's final.
And what did your parents say?
And my mother looked at me, okay, and she started trembling
Oh,
from the top of her head down.
Wow.
And she slammed the iron down and she said, "Oh, my dead body."
oh my gosh. You know what? Me, I heard that from my parents because I wanted to be a musician. And my mom told me exactly the same thing.
Well, right. But here's the thing, right? My father and raising the children was definitely mom's department. Dad didn't say boo. My father did not look up. He kept eating his steak and he said, "I'll take the girl."
Oh man, that's a
And he
beautiful
took me
story.
to
That's a
audition.
beautiful story.
And well, the bright side is that my parents have been my biggest fans ever since.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's Latino families
Super
are
hard.
less inclined to let their kids get into a profession that is this less predictable, like acting or any of the arts.
Yeah.
How about you, Ramon? Now I'm interested to know what was your sign?
I
What was
did
your
not
sign?
have
Blue
a, I
actor,
did
by
not
the
have
way.
a
I love that
blue.
story. Sorry, I love that
That's
story,
okay.
Diana.
I did not have as a clear sign as Diana. Mine was probably a mix of both. My dad was a musician, but my mom hated that he was a musician because he was always out. And I started doing little theater projects at school to do reports. And so I'd write a little script and have people act out, our history project. And then that kind of just grew into ending up doing theater in high school. And I thought this is amazing. This is a blast. And my parents were like, we're not paying for college for that. So you need to find something else to do. And then eventually went to school in New York and through a series of events met Nadia through the Columbia acting program because I wanted to be an actor in some way, shape, or form. So that's sort of how we connected. So it was a little bit of always wanting to tell stories and finding space to do that. And then the industry at some point told me that I was too white to be Mexican. So at that point, I started writing my own stuff. I was like, well, we come in all colors, so
Oh yeah, we sure
uh,
do.
and so that's sort of the impetus behind.
Oh wow, wow. And how do you? I mean, so you've been in the profession for a long time. You did a lot of stuff for Warner Brothers. How do you end up in emblematic pictures? What is that? Are you part of the ownership, or how does that how does that work?
Yeah, so Emblematic Pictures was started many years ago with a group of us, and originally it was a company to build technology that would support the film industry. And then our tech partners all kind of left, and then we had an empty vessel of a production company. We had done one or a couple of smaller projects, and that was the vehicle by which we started to build on creating a slate of films. And then, we all needed to make money to survive. So we all went to corporate, but the entity kind of lived on. And then that's kind of the entity that has kind of reemerged to kind of create a little family drama. But it's been around for a while, but it does a mix of a variety of projects.
Yeah, I was looking at your website and I can see that you have a number of projects lined up. So it's a good job.
There is a question from the live chat, but it's not really specific to anyone. So even Dr. Ruiz, you could answer it. What do you think are some of the biggest differences between Mexican-American cinema to other Latino voices? And thank you, Daniel, for the question. So who wants to take it?
Who wants to take it? Let's have our guests take that question.
I mean, I can kick off some of it, but Diana's a vision in the market. She probably
maybe Ramon, maybe start. What do you think?
I mean, there are some differences, but it all kind of boils down to the consumer. I think American consumers have a easier time now reading subtitles, for example. I think the US also has the benefit of superhero stories and like these big tentpoles as being landmark elements of what storytelling from the US are. Those travel typically really well. I think on the other side, though, from my understanding, the Mexican market, while it's robust, they would prefer to watch, they love the horror and occult. It's pretty popular. That's not as true in the US as it is in Mexico, where I feel like in the US, there's people that love documentaries, there's people that love buddy comedies, but it's not as big of a market. And the infrastructure for making those movies is, I mean, they're all over the world. It's contracting. It's harder and harder to make projects at big scales. But I think on some level, there are some intersectionalities, and we were trying to test this out with a little family drama, figuring out if you could have representation of a family that has first generation, people that have come from Mexico, people that have been around for a while, and see if that would travel internationally. And it turns out that it actually doesn't travel as well because it's so specific to the US. Kind of this conflicting identity between, am I American or am I Mexican? How much culture is what I brought from my parents versus what's reimagined. And I think those stories don't travel as well. If it had been a horror movie, I think we probably would have had a little bit more success going international.
Can we do that next? That'd be great.
I know, yeah.
That's what do you think? What do you think, Nadia? What is your opinion in regards to that and to the
biggest differences between Mexican-American cinema and other Latino voices?
I don't really know what to say. I think Ramon actually really encapsulates.
Ramon did a good job on that.
Yeah, I think Ramon did a really good job of kind of really expanding that idea.
Responding to that.
Yes, I think it's a really good job. I was like, how do I add more to that? I don't think I can really add more to it.
Well, I think that I mean the different Mexican Americans and other Latinos, we have unique stories because although we all speak Spanish, but our cultures are different. So it's the story of people growing in New York City and Puerto Ricans is a different life growing in New York City as a Puerto Rican as it is a Mexican in Los Angeles. So I think the stories are different, but Latinos, we are very, very much the same. Our families, our values are very, very similar, but our stories are different. That's my perspective in regards to that. I think that they're working together to grow our Latino film community is very, very important. The Mexican-American Cultural Education Foundation, we offer grants and scholarships, and everybody's welcome, and we invite everybody to submit applications for grants and scholarships to our film festival. So would love to see more of that. I would like to know, actually, we need to see
A movie.
one of our scenes, which is really a funny one, where Diana and Romy kind of get into an argument. Let's see what happens with that. So our engineer, please play it.
Cecilia, why is Matthias by himself?
I needed Shelly to start covering breaks. I was about to go help.
Why would you propose chapulines on the menu? No one likes crickets.
I've been doing some research on more environmentally sustainable dishes. We have so much meat on the menu, and chapulines...
Mija, I understand you want to be ergonomic.
That's not the word.
This is tradition. We've always had the same dishes at the restaurant for the past 50 years. Never once have we served chapulines or anything different. And this year, with Grandpa not here, we need to remember and celebrate our roots.
But don't you think he would have wanted us to build on his legacy?
Mija, don't talk to me like I didn't know my own father.
Mom, I was...
Mija, if you really want to try chapulines, we can have a cricket feast at your house. I'll even let you teach me how to cook them, but not here. We're sticking with tradition.
Well, speaking of tradition...
Okay.
Grandma wants to end a family dinner with a soup.
Ay, por Dios. I told you not to leave him alone.
Three generations of conflict right there. Although we didn't see the third generation, but we know it's coming.
Yeah.
Very good. Very funny. So, Diana, tell us a little bit about the scene. How did it feel when you guys were shooting it?
I mean, I remember when I read it, I was like, yep, I know what it's like. In my opinion, Cecilia is in a dissonance. She feels the responsibility to be there to help her family, but at the same time, she wants to have a life on her own, to discover who she is, because everything she's known so far has been kind of like in regards to the restaurant or for family or helping others, instead of like discovering who she really is. And maybe that's whispering to her, like, those are the aspects of, maybe I should try this, maybe I should go to school, maybe I should do this, but what's going to happen with, the restaurant, with the family? So she's kind of like stuck in this, like, oh, I want to leave, but I don't want to feel bad, but yeah, I want to try this something else. And maybe she's trying to do that and tap into her creativity with the restaurant, like, oh, maybe I'll try something new, like new dishes, but it's not even allowed to do that. So it's frustrating for her. And I remember Romy and I, when we went through the scenes, she helped me so much with obviously her incredible acting. And also there is another scene that we went through the scene, and Romy was like, I think it's like we were practicing, and we discovered beautiful things that showed up in the one of the main scenes as well. So it was super easy to work with her, because she's like this, she has this a huge amount of experience. So I was so
yeah, you can tell. That's nice that Romy was able to share a little bit of her expertise. Romy, so from your side of the story, tell us a little bit about this scene, and then I want to hear from the director.
I think that it's a brilliant little scene, because you see the relationship right away, and it's the shutdown. It's like, okay, Mija, that's great. Just do what I say. I don't really need you to have your own mind.
Do what I say.
Yeah, just do what I say and you'll be fine. And I don't know if you caught it at the beginning of that scene. Diana is actually looking at, a university, or what was it, a training program, Diana, or but something she wanted to.
I didn't. I wasn't able to tell. I wasn't able to tell that was what we were looking at. That really creates a conflict right there.
Yeah, and I sort of catch her, and I'm like, what did you do? I told you not to leave your brother. So it's also the setup that she's responsible for Matia, right? I told you not to leave him alone. He can't be alone. Something's gonna blow up, and if it does, it's your fault.
Yeah, it's an effort to control her, right?
Yeah,
Is that how you wrote it? Is that how you wrote it, Nadia? You wrote it,
well,
a little bit with.
I very much wanted to establish very early on. I mean, this is a scene that happens early on, and there's a kind of a series of scenes kind of built up to a kind of a first conflict or a first argument between the family to kind of really kind of give you an idea of all the tensions, all the kind of like underbelly, all the things that are under the surface kind of like fizzling and bubbling, and so that as we move on, you kind of have a good sense of the dynamics with these families, like in some ways these are archetypes, they're, we have these very much within our own family, these traditional roles that we all kind of fall into, the mother, the daughter, the son, and especially like, I mean, I think when Ramon and I talked about this, we talked a lot about our mothers and how the sons in the family oftentimes were like the golden child, and the daughters were kind of like left with the expectation of, you are the homemaker, you have to stay here, you have to take care of us, and like you have to, these responsibilities. So I think all of that is kind of in that scene, and it's in little bits, but we wanted to quickly establish that.
Yeah, that's very well done. Very, very well done. I loved it.
It's a deceptively simple scene, right? If you just see it black and white on a page.
Yeah.
But it's all the subtext that's going on. So that was really great.
And that's what the viewer gets. The viewer is seeing that, but then they're they're feeling all those different layers that you presented very well. Ramon, why don't you give us a little feeling of what we're going to see next, because we're going to see the next scene, which is a little bit like, let's not play it yet. Engineer, please just have it ready. But I want Ramon to kind of get us a little feeling of what we're going to see and what happened with this next scene.
Yeah, so this is towards the end of the movie. It's a blow up without the resolution, obviously. But it has been building over the feature. Certain events have happened. The restaurant is being foreclosed. All these frustrations and tensions are boiling up between Romy and Anselma, Alma Martinez, who plays Anselma, the grandmother, the matriarch. Diana and Ramon, we're not related, but we do share the last name Torres. But our sibling conflict, and then the conflict most certainly with Cecilia and the rest of the family. And all of this is boiling up, but as a manifestation of the family having dinner together and congregating. And there's a bit of a food fight, but the food fight is not the actual fight. It's sort of the manifestation of all this frustration. I don't want to reveal that more.
Let's play it. Let's see now what's going to happen.
My father, and now she's handing them out to strangers. I may have been a little harsh saying that they were poison, but not by much.
I don't know when you started thinking that you were so much better than us. Your superiority complex has no place here.
Dad was high all the time.
How do you think I got him to eat?
I think now is the time for Dad's mole tamales. His authentic mole.
I think you're right. Now is the perfect time for the soup. Muchachas, el pozole.
Cecilia.
I can help.
Cecilia.
Matias. Oh, well, what am I gonna do?
Ándale, ándale.
Why does everyone all of a sudden care about the soup?
No idea. Veganism is trendy, right? It's a thing now.
Casey, this is a bad idea. You need to stop.
Let's do it for that.
Yuri! Yes, can we not start serving, please?
We're serving the soup. Matias, take those tamales into the house. We are not serving those. That
You're
we're
ruining
serving
the
the
You're ruining the
soup
plan,
first. No one is serving tamales.
Maybe we can serve both things.
You know, that's actually
What's your problem? You can still serve the soup last. You're getting what
I said we're serving the soup first.
you are being irrational.
Oh my God.
They were dirty.
Thank you, Yaritzi. Someone had to act. But yes, please start serving.
No, no one is serving the tamales.
You
No.
just won't let me have it.
No.
Give me
No.
that. Stop it. Take it. Oh, but you are not serving this soup.
No, we need to serve the soup. We need to serve the soup. Thomas, I'm helping.
So is that a no on the soup and tamales?
Well, that looks like all of you got pretty dirty on that scene. Well, we have a special section of our podcast in which we get to know you a little more intimately with a few personal questions. I hope that your mind is full for fun, and we call this the rapid fire questions and answers. So we're, Yasmin and I are going to ask you questions, and just short answers so we get to know you a little bit better.
Okay, I have a question for Ramon. What is your go-to karaoke song?
Oh, oh no. Shakira, si te vas.
Rumi, what's your favorite actress?
Who's my favorite actress?
Yeah, who?
Oh, I have many. But I really love Toni Collette.
Yeah.
Okay, Diana, what is a secret talent you have?
A secret what?
Talent.
A secret talent. I'm sure I have some. I mean, I suddenly went blank. I mean, I can make them out.
She can fly a plane.
Yeah. Okay. What is your favorite instrument that you play?
My body.
uh,
No, I mean, I don't play any instruments. Sorry to disappoint you.
Ramon, what is your favorite instrument that you play?
Piano.
Oh.
Do you play anything else?
I did play the violin for a little bit for a mariachi group.
Oh, mariachi. Okay.
Okay, Nadia. Let's see. If you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Wow, that's a tall order. Wow. I think it would be chanasag. Just
What is that?
It's like a chickpea and like
Spinach.
spinach dish
Oh, okay.
with like that's stewed with tomatoes. It's always been my favorite.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, let's have our great co-host tell us a little bit about where we can see your super fun movie.
Yes, so it is available in streaming on Tubi, so I encourage everyone to go and watch it. And I want to thank everyone for joining us on this episode of Mexican-American Latino Lens Live podcast, where we spotlight the brilliance, resilience, and creativity of Latino voices in film, TV, and beyond. And I just want to remind everyone not to forget to follow us at Dr. Ruiz Productions on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And next week, we will be having another guest on Wednesday at 4 p.m., so make sure not to miss it out.
And I encourage all of you to go to the Emblematic Pictures website and see all that is coming from our friend Ramon. And of course, we look forward to seeing all of you in future projects, because you're very, very talented. You're a lot of fun. So thank you, everyone, and look forward to seeing you in the future.
Thank you.